Hi, I'm Jim Blair. I want to show you how to install a Banner ultrasonic liquid level sensor. And this is what the sensor looks like. I actually have two different models here. I have the short range model. That's the one that the model number ends in ARA. And I have the long range model. The model number ends in CRA. The short range will reach from 3.94 inches down to 39.4 inches. It's just measuring from the sensor down. This is going to work really good on your chemical feed tanks. Something like a chlorine injection tank or a pre-treatment. Any tank that the tank is less than 40 inches in height, this is probably your best choice. Now, if you install this on top of your chemical feed tank and then your customer comes along and fills that tank completely up and the liquid level gets up within 4 inches of the sensor, you're going to get some bad data. You're not going to like the way that looks. So I have a solution for that. Go to your hardware store and get you a 4-inch male adapter, a 4x2 bushing, and a 2x1 1/4 threaded bushing, and put that into the top of your tank. And your sensor can thread right into the top of that. And when you get that all glued together, that's going to give you about a 4-inch standoff. Now, if you're installing this in the top of a tank where the chemical is kind of corrosive to metal, something like chlorine would eat that lock ring, you probably don't want to use a metal lock ring. So get yourself a female adapter and screw that on the bottom. And that'll give you an attachment that's non-corrosive. It's going to last a long time. Another mounting option for you is this stainless steel right angle bracket, and it's going to fit over the cable. The top of this sensor has a 1-inch male thread on it, and the unit actually comes with a plastic lock ring that you can help secure that with. But you might use this if you're mounting this inside of a storage tank, mounting it on a wall or something like that. If you need one, just let us know. The other model is the one that ends in CRA, and that's the long range model. The range on this one is 11.8 inches down to 118 inches. So it works really good on your small storage tanks, maybe up to like 3,000 gallons. So if your tank is taller than 10 feet, you're probably going to have to resort to using a different type of sensor. Usually for that, we use a submersible sensor that we lay on the floor of the tank, and we just measure the water pressure on top of that. Or we can actually give you a pressure transducer that you can put into an empty bulkhead on the side of the tank, and you can measure your water level that way. When you go to install the sensor, you need to consider that it has a cone angle that it reads. So when you install the sensor, don't put it over anything that might interfere with the signal. When you go to install these sensors outside on a storage tank, you might want to protect it a little bit more. The best way we found to do that is to get you a small junction box, mount this on top of your tank, drill you a hole through the bottom of that, and mount your sensor inside of that. That way you can run the wires over in conduit and everything is protected from the elements. So when it comes time to wire up your ultrasonic sensor, you're going to first notice that the sensor has a 6-inch cable on it with a male right angle thread here on it. Now, we're going to connect it here to the Modbus block, and that's how it's going to communicate to the Night Owl system. However, you're probably going to find out in most situations that this cable is not long enough to reach all the way out to your storage tank. So, for that, we typically will send it with a 52-foot long cable. Something that looks like this, and it'll have a male right angle right on it. You can go ahead and connect that right here to your Modbus block. Now, if 52 foot's not long enough, just let us know. We can send you a custom cable length of anything you need. So once you get that done, go ahead and run your wire all the way out to your sensor and cut it off to length. And then you're going to install one of these adapters, one of these female straight adapters. And the color code really matters, so make sure you get this in the right order. The order is brown, white, blue, black. So brown goes into pin number 1, white goes into pin number 2, blue goes into pin number 3, and black goes into pin number 4. Just follow the color code and you'll get it right. And then the only thing you have left to do is to connect your cable to that sensor. One of the cool things about this is if you've got everything powered up, plugged in right, as soon as you get this connected, your sensor is going to light up green. That way you know you did the wiring right. The last thing you need to do before you finish is to write down some measurements on your tank. You need to know the overall height of your tank from the bottom of the sensor to what you consider to be empty. So like if you have a suction bulkhead, you can measure down to the top of that bulkhead. The second measurement you need is from the sensor down to the top of the liquid when the tank is full. Write those down because you're going to need them when you configure the dashboard. When you get back in the office, it's time to configure the dashboard for your ultrasonic sensors. So go to Site Info and click on the gear icon, then go over here to Gauge Config and click on its gear icon. Now your ultrasonic sensors are going to live here in the level bar setup. So right here you can give your tank a name. Maybe you had chlorine tanks. You want to call it chlorine tank. And then you're going to need to choose which sensor you used. So If you only have one sensor, it's going to be sonic level sensor number 1. If you had 2 sensors, maybe you have a storage tank out there. So you're going to put in storage tank, and you're going to choose sonic level sensor number 2. Now, if you paid attention to the node address, there's a red sticker on the box when we shipped it to you, and that gave you the node address. So sensor number 1 will be node address number 20, and sensor number 2 would be node address number 21. If you didn't pay attention, just guess, and if the data looks wrong, swap it. Right here, you're going to put in your tank height. So remember, this is from the bottom of the sensor to what you consider to be empty on the tank. So a chemical feed tank might be something like 32 inches, and your offset would be maybe 4 inches from the sensor down to when the liquid's full. Here you can put in your alarm percentages. So you may want to get alarmed if it's over 105% or if it's below 20%. And right here you can enable whichever alarms you want to enable. On your storage tank, you probably have a taller tank. It's probably 68 inches, maybe an offset of 12 inches. And we'll do the same 105, but maybe we want the alarm to be 15%. And maybe we want it to alert us for both of these. Now, the next part is the delay. So what this is for is if you get a nuisance alert every time water is splashing in on your tank, maybe it's getting over 105% for 30 seconds or something like that, you can actually have a little delay here. So maybe you put in a 5-minute delay on that. And what that's going to do is it's only going to alarm you if that alarm persists for at least 5 minutes. Normally you just leave these at 0. And when you're done with all that, just click Save. That should be a fairly easy installation for you, but if you run into any problems, don't hesitate to ask for help. And thank you for being a customer of Night Owl Monitoring.